it.
Record.
Yeah.
Oh, the good old hockey game. Oh, the game's good. Nice.
Have you played Super Blood Hockey yet on Steam?
I have not, because it's coming out on Switch, and that looks like something I want to have.
Get it on Switch.
Portable.
It's a Switch game.
We all recording? Sorry.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Let's just do the clapper. Get that over with. 3, 2, 1. Cool.
That's a good shitter game, by the way. I know we're not talking about mobile stuff, and technically that's not a mobile game. But if it is on the Switch, then I guess technically it is. But speaking in terms of,
I can't make a phone call on the device, so it's not.
You can't make a phone call on the. Yes, that's a good. A good
measuring stick,
right? But
it's portable.
But the matches are very quick and they are violent. It is Super Blood Hockey, but it's a sport game that I can play, which means I don't know y'all. Y'all are pretty good with actual sports games, so it could go anywhere with you guys. It reminds me a ton of Mega Man Soccer, though. So there's a hat in its corner.
It reminds me a lot of. It looks like Blades of Steel.
Blades of Steel. Well, there's
NES Ice Hockey.
Maybe close to NES Ice Hockey because there's like active passing. But Blades of Steel was that game where you have like one-on-one fisticuffs, right? Like if two players get in a tie-up, then all of a sudden it'll like zoom in, or it'll like cross-cut to a zoom in of the two players, and all of a sudden it's like crippled Street Fighter 1, where you have like punch, kick, and stuff. Yeah. This is like all of your fighting happens in real time. It is just as active as the passing is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And every once in a while, if certain conditions are met, all of a sudden everybody gets into like a big ass brawl, and then there's no hockey being played. It's all just fighting.
Nice.
It's a pretty solid time.
Sounds like NFL Blitz on ice.
I've never played NFL Blitz, but
there was a game that was supposed to launch for the Switch when the system launched, or right around the system launched, called I think it was called Old Time Hockey.
It was Old Time Hockey, yeah.
And it fucking died on the vine.
It died on the vine because it came out for PC and it was terrible.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah. It was just busted looking. Collision cages weren't working. It was very much like a sophomore effort on the part of the studio that made it, which is unfortunate because Gungeon was that studio's first game.
What, seriously?
Yeah. And plenty of other independent studios have turned out like solid first-party efforts. Super Meat Boy. Let's go ahead and throw that name out there.
Wow.
Yeah. So it made.
I had no idea that was the same guys.
No. It wasn't the same studio. I'm just like talking about like studios that that broke the mold on their first attempt. And this was also a small studio, but the mold remains intact and gathering dust.
Gotcha. Understood.
Yes. All right. Yeah. But yeah, there was a Super Blood. I don't know really how we got into that, but
well, I'm watching hockey while we're doing this.
Well, you were talking about hockey, and I just asked you if you were playing that shit. Yeah, when it comes out on Switch, do dare to try.
Yeah, I definitely will. So, hey guys, welcome to episode 59.
Correct.
Yay! Of the Nerd or Not podcast. I'm Jay. With me, as always, is Bob and Corey.
Arithmetic.
Indeed. Yes.
Yeah,
it's more. Hey, I'm over 40 now, and I have no memory for what number I was on about anything.
Counting up.
Yeah, it's sitting here. I was going, I know it's 50 something.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's 57. I think it's 57, but I'm going to say 59 because I'm sure it's more than what I think it is.
57 is the age we're all going to be the next time we can remember waking up.
Probably.
And it's going to be horrible. We're going to be like, when did this happen?
So speaking of waking up, I had a dream last night.
Before you go.
It was a marvelous dream. And the problem with this dream is that it was so vivid that when I woke up from it, I was honestly convinced that it had happened. And I was so confused that I couldn't find the thing. So last night I had a dream that the wife and I were out, and we came back from what we were doing. We pulled into our driveway, and on our porch was a box the size of my car. And
that
like
fit
an
on
Amazon
your porch?
box?
like an Amazon box, but just stamped on the side was the word pretzels. So I opened the box in my dream, and it's full of it's all bow ties, right? But it's a variety of the small bow tie, like the crispy ones, and the big soft motherfuckers.
Oh, were there hard Bavarians in there too?
There were.
Oh,
It was like every kind of bow tie pretzel you could ever imagine was in there, like a fucking the deliciousness of a soft Wetzel's, great crispy Bavarians, right? So I have this dream, and I open it up, and I'm like, I have so many pretzels. I am the pretzel king. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And then I go into the house, and as I go into the house, it's when I wake up.
God damn it.
So I wake up, and I'm like, oh, I got to go check on the pretzels. And I go out into the living room, and I'm like, I get out there, I was like, I didn't order 4 tons of pretzels.
You have to establish your dominance as the pretzel king of Grand Rapids.
But it's just like, oh, God damn it, I really want a lot of pretzels now. Like I don't want a pretzel, I want a lot of pretzels.
You want all the pretzels.
I do. And it was so disappointing to wake up from a dream and be like, nope, sorry, you have no pretzels.
Was everybody home when you woke up?
Oh, everyone was still asleep.
Everyone was still asleep. All right, family, breakfast is canceled. We're going to Auntie Anne's. Get in the car. Get in the car right fucking now. This will not go unaddressed.
So yeah, dream pretzels. Dream pretzels are not as satisfying as regular pretzels.
Dream pretzels.
So that's the dream I had. That's the first dream I've had in a while, and boy, my mind decided to fuck with me.
Did this box include the Ghetto West comforts of a Hot Wawa's soft pretzel?
I have not had a Hot Wawa soft pretzel, so
they're exactly what you expect out of a Wawa pretzel, but they are consummate pocket comfort food. Something to grab on the way to work when you're just feeling like desperate and unimaginative. It's like, oh shit, well, it's right there next to the donation box. Might as well.
Is it in that little hot box they have on the countertop?
It's in the hot box.
God damn it. That hot box saved my ass so many times. Like, I'm hungry. Sure. I'll have a sandwich that's been in there for 7 hours.
I'll take 3 Sizzlies and a hash brown and what is that? A cookie? Yeah, give me the cookie.
A cookie. That's always a good day for me is crackers and cheese. You know, that's like a normal day, but a good day for me is plus the cookie.
Nice. I do very much miss Wawa. We do not have Wawas up here.
We got Bigby.
But we have Bigby and we have Meyer, so we kind of
you got Meyer. I think that's more than a fair enough trade-off.
And I can buy booze in my grocery stores
at 2 a.m.
Yeah, if I want to. So we do come out ahead that way. Mm-hmm. But I look forward to that when we start traveling south in July to come down for Tennessee. I'm fucking scouting for Wawas. God damn it, I want Wawa.
Has Wawa broken into the Smoky Mountains?
I believe so, yeah.
I didn't know that. You know who has broken into the Smoky Mountains is fucking Andy's.
The ice cream place?
Yes, the custard place.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, but I think the only one on 27 might be in Kentucky, a little bit north of Bowling Green. I don't know. So y'all gonna have to make that a pin on your stop down. I'm not gonna be driving up there just for fucking custard. I have to make a trip.
No, I wouldn't do it just for custard, but I can definitely make that happen on the way down.
Yeah, on the way. Yeah, like it's got to be a special week for me to even head up to Sanford to that Andy's and get me a little something for the tummy tum.
Yeah, an extra 300-mile round trip added on just for some fucking ice cream seems a little silly.
27's a common route though, right?
I guess I don't know.
That's the way we used to take to go. Well, that's the way I took to get up to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's figure. Just remember, it's going to be north of Bowling Green, and it's going to have a huge ass fiberglass like fucking custard cone on the top of it.
Nice.
Not as majestic as the Twisty Treat mini palaces, but
few things are. But that's
majestic.
Exactly. Shit. What the hell's happening this week besides sad things? I don't want to talk about sad things. There's
Endgame is out tonight.
Endgame is tonight.
Yeah, it opens tonight.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to like fucking pour cement into my ear canals for tomorrow.
Yeah, I have tickets for tomorrow morning.
I'm still invested. I'm not gonna be able to see it for at least a week because this weekend I want to get caught up on Shazam and Us if that's still in the theaters.
I don't know if Us is. I know Shazam still is.
Shazam still is. All right. And there was a third thing that came out. Was it Hellboy? Because
Yeah.
woo! That Rotten Tomatoes score is impressive.
What's it at?
It's at like 13.
Woo!
It was 31 last time I looked. Holy crap.
31. Check it out. I could be tallying from the user side or from the review side. I don't know, but I haven't seen a genre movie tank that badly in a long fucking time, and it's no wonder that movie slipped under my radar. Because I was like looking at it, I'm like, all right, when's the trailer? When's the Sizzle trailer dropping? Oh, it came out a week ago. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know a lot of people who have seen it, and have just told me like, look, no, just don't. It's so bad.
You still have the first two. You still have the two Tad Stones animated movies. Those are all great. Stick with them.
Yeah. I will say this. There's been a number of movies where the critics absolutely freaking hate a movie, but the audience are either impartial or love it. And that's kind of what's going on here. 14 by critics, 61 by audience score.
Huh. Can we name any recent examples where the audience score has held merit?
Not really.
Yeah, there was something I saw not too long ago.
Sure.
Damn, what was it? I keep thinking Solo. But that was that's like the reverse of what. There was another movie I thought was really good, but the critics hated it. Oh, Alita.
Oh, that's right. Well, the critics they were kind of lukewarm on the whole thing, and the user side reviews were like ridiculously imbalanced. Like I think it hovers at like around 90, doesn't it?
I don't know. After I saw it, I was like, fuck what everybody else said. I love this movie.
Yeah, I mean the critical smash isn't going to be accurate 100% of the time. That's academic, you know. But when it's something that low, and both columns are kind of like undercutting undercutting I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for verbiage here, but anyway, if they're uniformly shitty, then that's a pretty good indicator of what you're going to be in for.
Are you watching playoff hockey too?
No, I am not. I am just half retarded. We know this. I don't get good sleep, and this is what you get night after night.
Right there with you.
Yeah. Anyway, so Hellboy was a bomb, but Endgame is going to be the big ticket this weekend.
I think they're going to make their money back.
You think so?
I think they already have. They're projecting like 850 million opening weekend worldwide. Yeah. So yeah, they're going to be fine. Like,
all right. Well, everybody wants to see the human eggplant get his just desserts. So, all right. I guess that's what the country's down for. More Endgame. The end to the game.
I am about just a matter of hours away from seeing it, so I cannot spoil anything. But I can say this one thing that I really wish a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but I wish this kind of information would go out when I go to see a movie, if it has post-credit scenes or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know that Endgame does not have a post-credit scene or mid-credit scene, but it does have something after all the credits. And it's not a scene, but it is a thing.
It's Howard the Duck.
Probably.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Speaking of comebacks, holy shit! I'm just gonna throw this out here. Animaniacs.
Yeah, 2020.
So we all saw this, right? It wasn't it wasn't a hallucination.
I saw the poster.
That's a weird one, and I'm not even like at mixed feelings about it because by and large, modern animation, and we talked about this before, almost ad nauseum, is pretty darn consistent. But the other reason is that old Animaniacs stuff, like, there's a pretty fair cross section of material that has not aged a whole lot. That hasn't aged very well.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty much looking forward to it.
As long as it means I don't get any fucking chicken boo, then I'm happy.
Chicken boo. Give me the Yardbird in disguise. Yardbird in disguise. Come on. I like Chicken Boo. It was absurdity, and it could be taken at face value. Katie Kaboom was misery.
Yeah.
But they only did like 5 Kitty Kaboom bits throughout the show's entire run. So you can let that dead dog lie out in the backyard for all I care.
I'm okay if they do like a good feathers.
Feathers.
Like 1.
Yeah.
Because that runs its course real fucking fast.
Yeah.
That joke does get old. What about Minerva?
Minerva was the mink, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember a whole lot of her shit.
I don't remember those at all.
They pushed the PG sexual content as far as they possibly could.
It was kind of like a revival of the old Tex Avery Wolf and Red.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
A lot of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Minerva, I don't remember a whole lot of them, so I couldn't really speak to that. One I can probably not do without. I mean, one I can probably do without. Sorry, that's a complete opposite of what I just fucking said. Were the 2 hippos. I don't even remember their names.
Oh, the hippos were terrible. The fucking romance hippos.
I don't remember these.
They sucked.
I've seen 1 or 2. Well, they were wealthy hippos, and I can't remember what they were called. And I've seen 1 or 2 decent ones with them in it, but it was the same sort of like rote running joke over and over again.
Yeah.
And pretty much like probably the same reason you hate Chicken Boo so much, because like Chicken Boo has its setup. The setup is the same every time. That person's actually a giant chicken. And then everyone discovers that it is a giant chicken at the end. And there's not really a whole lot of a deviation or complexity beyond all that. I don't know. Maybe like when I was watching these, I was licking batteries or some shit. And the humor really appealed to me in that debilitated psychological state. Who can say?
Oh, good idea, bad idea. I want to see more
I like
of those.
those.
Good idea, bad idea. Definitely Wheel of Morality.
Yeah.
Wheel of Morality. And the one that I hope that I am looking forward to the most seeing make a return, Slappy Squirrel.
Slappy's fucking brilliant.
And Slappy Squirrel, I haven't seen a single one of her old ones that have not aged badly.
No, they're all great.
Yes. Yeah. So she's my girl, and I'm waiting for her.
I'm real interested to see what they do. You know, it'd be fun if they did Slappy where she's just older and angrier. and like the kid is more grown up and is now dealing with the shit that she dealt with.
Yeah, and he's all jaded and stuff, and she's like close to immobile, but still knows how to pack the showbiz punch.
Like really close to unplugging that machine.
Yeah. the only thing that's kind of sad about all this is that like one of the things, this was during like my obsessive animation phase, when I used to like get out the index cards and go through the recorded episodes and eyeball each frame. I always used to check out or look out for the different in-betweeners in all the credits. So they're probably going to bring TMS back because TMS still, is in the business. But StarToons is since packed up, and that happened in like the late 90s. I loved watching StarToons animation. Rough Draft Korea, they're still in business because they do American Dad and Family Guy and stuff. ACOM sucked. Fuck them. I'm glad they closed down. And I don't know who the hell else might still be around, but these were all like, that was when like hand-drawn in-betweens were a big cottage industry for afternoon animation. So it's going to be kind of a loss to not see those names in the credits anymore.
I'm hoping, I'm interested because, my side of it comes from the acting side. So I'm interested to see who they get for the voice cast.
Yeah.
Because, well, he has to be.
Yeah.
Like
he literally sounds the fucking same.
Yeah. It's because it's his voice.
Yeah,
it's just him talking. It's not acting at all. It's
all voices.
So I'm interested in that. I'm interested to see if they have any Pinky and the Brain stuff on there. Which obviously we know that Lamar still sounds like Brain.
Yeah, well, you saw the PMJ video, right?
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they did their bit like right there, and that was this year.
But I really hope that we see this not necessarily for the show, but this leads to a Freakazoid relaunch.
Oh, that'd be lovely.
That show died way too soon.
It did. This is going to be a Hulu exclusive, so one can assume that it's going to be a series and not like a one-off movie or something. Yeah. Either way, that was a hell of a surprise to come across. Anyway, fucking backwards trips into nostalgia. As always, this is what we do. Speaking of fucking nostalgia, one of the things I wanted to know about, and this kind of ties into Endgame, because one of the things that I was fascinated by with Infinity War and the development of like Thanos, not as just a character, but in terms of like the makeup and special effects technology, was how much of Thanos in Infinity War was practical effects and how much of it was CGI.
Sure.
And I forget, it was like a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to one or the other, or maybe even both of you, about the times that like Hollywood or movie technology kind of like jumped itself when it came to practical creature effects and stuff like that.
They went above and beyond.
Above and beyond, yeah. And the first thing that I think about when I look at Thanos was Davy Jones from the second Pirates movie.
Sure.
Well, any Pirates movie that he was in, because I thought that most of that was just like really good goddamn articulated prosthetic makeup. And it turns out that that most of the affair was like CGI. It was just really well done CGI, and that kind of like dashed all my expectations about it. But
that's how good CGI has gotten. I mean, Bill Nye was on the ship wearing like a gray suit with lines on it and dots all over his face.
Yeah, that's how good the CGI in that movie was. Because we've seen movies since then that were kind of but yeah, tons of and I have never seen digital makeup as good as that movie since then, which is weird because that movie's easily 12 years old, if a day. So, but like thinking in like terms of practical effects, the older shit, the heyday was like the 80s, maybe the early 90s with a little bit of easements.
Depending on the director, you see some of it today.
Yeah, but ILM and Henson were like taking the we're like heading the charge of a lot of
they were the kingpins, yeah.
So when I think of that, and I was talking to you, I think one of the first things I think of after Davy Jones is fucking Return to Oz.
Yeah.
And seeing how much like painstaking artisanship went into creating the puppets for that, especially Jack Pumpkinhead, which I didn't know at the time. That shit was literally a marionette. They had like this entire overhead rig constructed, and every single one of Pumpkinhead's limbs were attached by Invisawire to a ligature or whatever. And you should have seen what this thing. It was nuts. It was like two iron octopuses welded together at the beak, and everything, like all of their tendrils, were just supports for the invisible threads that were controlling this absolutely ridiculous looking life-size puppet. And in addition to all that, like the mechanical, like spaghetti, they work phonemes into his head. It's like, fuck me, who designed this? And what dark magic tome did he get this knowledge from? Like, I thought the Darkhold was fictional. This guy clearly had a hold of it.
Now, is that the movie that Henson's Creature Shop handled the bulk of that shit, if not the entirety of it? Right. Did they work on it, but they refused to work on any future projects because of? No, I'm thinking of Ninja Turtles, where they were unsatisfied with how non-kin friendly Ninja Turtles ended up being.
With their own work, or with how the director was viewing their work?
How their product was used for this movie, which they thought was going to be like 100% kid friendly, but there was controversy at the time because of the violence and the language and everything. It's like, oh, this isn't 100% kid friendly, and I don't know if it was Henson himself or the Henson company just said, we don't want anything to do with the sequels.
I was thinking about the offer to return to the next two movies as a franchise deal, and I just want to say that you guys can go fuck yourselves. And well, here, talk to my representative here. Hang on a second, Kermit the Frog here. You can go fuck yourselves, because it's really just Jim Henson.
Did I just get fired by Ernie?
Hey Bert, what do you think of this guy? That was Oz was kind of like the vocal talent bulwark in that arrangement, wasn't he? Because you could tell when Henson was doing a character, but then you could tell when Oz was like trying to fill in for Henson, or when Oz was being Oz.
And later on, when Brian Henson was doing a voice, like, oh, that's Brian.
That's Brian, yeah. because if Henson wasn't too far removed from his natural voice and doing these characters, then somebody who is naturally removed from that voice and doing these characters is going to be a pretty easy tell.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Anyway, I didn't know he did Turtles though.
He did. The Henson Creature Shop did the faces.
That would explain why they were so articulate. I mean, it was impressive work. I just kind of thought it was somebody else. I think maybe even like Will Vinton Studios, even though they didn't do automatic puppets for the most part.
Now, in Willa. Do you remember the weird 2-headed dragon thing that had like the nutsack on top of its head?
Yeah.
Ew, yeah.
Was that a puppet or was that just stop motion?
That was for the most part stop motion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was Harryhausen, I believe. That's why it looked kind of primordial, even for the age in which it was released.
Really?
Harryhausen was working well into the 80s.
Into his 80s?
That was a Lucas joint.
I mean, it was Lucas. Yep. Well, I'm not saying that it was definitely Harryhausen. Like I knew Harryhausen worked on the that Harry Hamlin Jason and the Argonauts movie, so he was still busy. And they could have just drafted him, kind of like how Disney drafted Richard Williams to handle the animation on Roger Rabbit. But whenever people think about like stop motion animation, large creatures, and fantasy epics, Harryhausen was like the go-to guy. And I know that he still had his hands in a bunch of projects at the time. Then again, it could have just been ILM doing their thing. That was an ugly ass monster, though. Thanks for reminding me of that mess.
Yeah, that thing was nasty.
Yeah. It was at least it was shaved. I don't know.
Didn't one of them blow up?
I'm still kind of flummoxed by. But I mean, with me, movies, I'll pretty much immediately go to Star Wars. It's
right.
The big thing for me. But
you got a lot to choose from there.
It's Jabba though. Like
Jabba was an insane undertaking.
Yeah, Jabba was like 7 people manning that puppet. Which is crazy. It's just like one tongue guy.
Yeah.
Like
what are you working today? The tail.
Oh, sorry, guy. I just had chili last night, and I shared it with these other 4 guys. We're trapped in this like vinyl prison for the next 15 hours.
We live in this foam rubber slug. This is all we are.
Oh, can you imagine how that thing smelled after a day of shooting?
Yes.
That was probably the dose of reality that the actors needed in order to get into that scene, though. Jabba probably really smelled like this.
Carrie Fisher's getting pulled close. Oh God, I'm gonna puke.
Chili, decaying rubber, and body odor. Also farts. How big did the creatures get? Well, no, there had to have been some other like see, Star Wars has like a bevy of a practical effects creatures to choose from, like you talk, and they were like the single performer creature setups that must have been like insane. Like the Rancor guard, the guy with the guy that wasn't a pig but absolutely was a pig.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Malakili.
Malakili, thank you. Jesus H. The Mos Eisley Cantina scene alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of that wasn't puppetry. It was just masks and old Doctor Who costumes.
Yeah, but articulated masks and shit. So throwing this out there, by the way, as an aside, every single time there is a Tick live action show, are you absolutely like just fucking bogged by how they're able to work the practical antenna on those costumes?
Yes.
Because I had a theory about the Patrick Warburton costume, and that was that there was like a couple of servos. You notice how he like walked with a slight hunch?
Yeah.
And they didn't shoot him from the back a lot in that show. I think there was like there were like micro servers worked into the back part of the carapace on the costume, because you can see where the seams are, being that is like supposed to look like a single body outfit. But the sleeves come on separately and the torso bit is separate, and you can see where there's like a they kind of like plaster over the panty line a little bit. But the suit that they've used in the Tick, especially this one, this latest season, is almost seamless, and there is absolutely no there's no like suspicious hunchery or posture or anything going on with it, and yet the antennas are still practical.
It's probably gotten to the technology these days is probably where they just have RF feeding to the antenna. Okay, do this, go up and down and do whatever.
It's like Bluetooth antenna. It's like Bluetooth antenna.
Yeah.
And the irony of the name's not lost on me either. That's pretty cute. I know, it's like mind blowing every time. I want to know how much like technology is like pioneered just for this idiot's antenna. So they can put in like a cute little visual gag here and there, you know.
That show's so goddamn good.
This season has been pretty stellar, yeah, and I'm glad they got a full episode order too.
Lobstercules made me laugh my ass.
Have you gotten to 5 yet?
No, I've only watched first 2 episodes. So
I can't talk.
I'm trying to slow roll it.
Can't talk about it. All right, it's a nice, easily digestible half hour per, like Ash versus the Evil Dead. So you'll be through it before you know it, which is unfortunate.
That's another one I need to check out. Okay, now let's talk Evil Dead. Were the Deadites stop motion?
Some of the Deadites were stop motion, and it was a little ropey at times. Okay. So that's not one that I would use as a stellar example of stop motion technology, but the makeup was pretty solid most of the time.
True. Yeah, there was especially in Ash versus the Evil Dead, there was a really good combination of stop motion, puppetry, and makeup.
And CGI. That thing was like a perfect marriage of all of the special effects makeup technologies thus far. I don't think it's a spoiler because this monster is in the thumbnail that you see for the show on Netflix. But Theodora does come back, you know, the big baddie from Evil Dead 2. Mm-hmm. And she looks so much better than she did in Evil Dead 2. And it was exactly that. Combination of stop motion, combination of makeup, and a combination of CG. Fucking fantastic scene, too. And it was thoroughly disgusting. It was just absolutely disgusting.
As it should be.
As it fucking should be, yes.
While we're talking about stop motion, one of the particular characters that just blew me away, especially when I watched a documentary just on this one character, was the skeleton puppet that they used for Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh my God, yes.
This thing was the largest stop motion puppet ever created at 16 feet tall.
Yeah, and you said you just saw a documentary on it, but they actually have footage of it in the credits.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite know what I was looking at when I was watching the movie itself. I was like, oh, this is pretty good forced perspective, because that's the first thing you're going to think of. Most animated, like Matt Ket style puppets are about 1.5 feet tall, so that they can work with a variety of scales.
It really depends on the production.
It does depend on the production. Like if it was like a Will Vinton commercial production, especially with the claymation shit, then it's going to be a bit more miniature. But for the most part, in order to be able to pack that much detail into the surrounding environments and scenes, they have to be, well, they don't have to be, but they ought to be around that scale. So I was like, okay, they maybe put together like a 3 foot tall puppet for this, and then they shot it like how they shot Gimli and the Lord of the Rings movies, right? No, this thing was just a giant ass puppet, and it was on a scaffolding. That was nuts.
You should watch a documentary on Isle of Dogs, because the stop motion puppets in that are about this tall.
Really?
But the pieces are so finely tuned and defined that they have to get right in top of the characters. But yeah, they're really small.
I can only think that a lot of people walked away from that production with severe carpal tunnel. Damn. I got to get this dog to grin just right. Hand me the precision screwdriver. Hand me the fucking sewing needle.
Where are the tweezers?
Yes, give me the tweezers. Yeah, I just if you've seen any of the behind the scenes stuff on like the typical Selick production, and I think Henry Selick, who did Nightmare and James and the Giant Peach and that stuff. Also, not coincidentally, the stop motion on Return to Oz. If you ever see the productions that he gets involved in, it sticks to that manner of scale. And I'm kind of assuming that via the fact that the first Laika movie was directed by Henry Selick, that they more or less just took over production conditions after him, or standards after him. But Isle of Dogs wasn't Laika, was it? That was something else. That was Wes Anderson's stop motion shop. If he does even have his own workshop, I don't know.
He probably should at this point.
Still need to watch that movie. So okay. In terms of like equally as intricate stop motion stuff, I guess we kind of just got off of special effects. Like,
how about Slimer?
You know, Slimer. Oh, Ghostbusters. Okay, we'll talk about Ghostbusters for a second, but I'm going to write the words Scooby-Doo 2 Monster Mayhem right now. because I'm going to put myself on the martyr's cross for that one. But Ghostbusters, yes. The costume involved, the costume needed for the Marshmallow Man scenes, definitely. And the oh, what's the phrase that I'm thinking of? Jesus. The city that they had to build around it, which had to be to scale to the costume itself, which must have been a bitch to measure out. Like, absolutely. And yeah, that thing was just like a powerhouse of spook makeup and such.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking metal horns, throwing the horns for the zombie taxi driver.
Now, how about an older one, like one of my favorite miniseries, The Storyteller, had just a number of great Henson puppets in it, but the one that always blows me away, even to this day, and I watched it last night just as a refresher, were the little devils from The Soldier and Death.
I've still not seen this.
Oh.
None of The Storyteller. I know what you're talking about, and I've been wanting to see it since back in the day, but my fucking parents wouldn't let me.
The puppets are about 4 feet tall, maybe less than that.
Yeah.
And their heads are about the size of a softball.
Okay.
But their eyes, their eyebrows, their noses, their mouths are so articulate and so mobile. It's shocking. And it's not like they force perspective in any way, because they have the main actor standing there, and like one of the devils is over his shoulder talking to him, and you just see him like enunciate all the words. Like, wow.
How big are they?
Oh, they're not very big, and they're very, very skinny. They're probably 3 to 4 feet.
3 to 4 feet tall. So they're about the size of a ventriloquist dummy.
Yeah, but they're pretty skinny, like as skinny as the width of my wrist.
Not skinny enough for somebody to, shunt their forearms back up into.
I can guarantee these are not ventriloquist dummies.
No, what I'm saying is that like the mechanics would be able to fit within the whatever space is allotted in their head structure.
It's Henson, so that's possible, yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen? Okay, I don't know if you ever got treated to one of these, but my mom took me to a ventriloquist show like way back in the day. I forget what the guy's name was. His last name was Nelson, but it was the two ventriloquist puppets that appeared in the old Nestle commercials. There was a dog.
N-E-S-T-L-E-S.
That's the bitch.
Nestle's makes the very best
chocolate.
chocolate.
That asshole. And he was doing puppet shows in Fort Myers because the well ran dry. And so we got to see him live. And here's the cool thing. He let people take a look at how the puppets worked. He didn't kayfabe it up or anything. Like after
That's
the
really cool.
If you wanted to get a look at the cross section of what made his eyebrows jump and what caused his eyes to move back and forth, you got to look. It's like somebody packed half of a keyboard piano into that little skull-shaped space, and the dude easily could have been like a gypsy jazz guitarist with the amount of dexterity that it took in order for everything to work. But suppose you have like people working on a much higher professional level. You would have had those people working at the Henson shop. That's probably how, or at least the scale of detail that they were trying to involve in with those puppets. What it looked like is exactly what it was.
Jimmy Nelson?
Jimmy Nelson, yeah, that's the dude.
Yeah, those things are a little creepy looking.
Yes, they are. They're ventriloquist dummies. That is their nature.
How about Falkor?
See, that's a good one. I've never seen Falkor in a production scale. Give me a second here. Behind the scenes. Falkor!
Atreyu!
Falkor!
Atreyu!
Atreyu!
Wow. Atreyu!
I'm disturbed now. Dude, that thing is... Big. Oh, wow. Why, thank you. But I'm talking about the puppet here. And they had like several of them?
Mm-hmm.
Woo, was that Jim Henson?
I don't think so.
Oh, they had to make them a little bit to scale because for some reason one of the behind the scenes shots from Avengers has popped up and it's making me giggle. Yeah, they had to have one of the actors during speaking scenes with this puppet. So the head at least would have had to have been considerably ratioed. Damn, though. It's also kind of ugly without the sculpture taken out. Ugh.
Oh yeah.
It looks like a giant snail in some of these shots.
Excuse me.
Falkor doesn't moisturize.
I haven't seen that movie in such a long time. But I always had a question about that movie that bothered the hell out of me.
Why were Falkor's teeth so creepy?
No, I was okay with that actually. When they landed and the old couple were nursing Atreyu back to health.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why were they giving him shots? They were like with javelin size injectors, just stabbing it into him.
Well, it was a German production, so it was probably just how they did things back then.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they were understudies because Miracle Max was on a sabbatical.
I wonder if that's where anti-vax started.
And the Brute Squad.
I see. Back in the day, I thought those two were like related to Miracle Max in some way because they look so similar. But that's only headcanon, and that's something I have to keep to myself, I guess. No, there was Falkor, and I'm thinking of. See, I keep coming back to another one. It was more recent, and shit, it's not coming to me. God damn it! And I'm gonna feel like such an asshole when we get like into the later part of this podcast, and it's not gonna come to me. Damn it! All right. Well, that was that thing, and that was a lovely waltz through the '80s, which tends to happen in this. Fucking.
So you wanted to talk about Scooby-Doo 2?
Yes, thank you, Scooby-Doo 2. That was it. Because people bag on that shit, and the last time I saw people bagging on Scooby-Doo 2, it was for the sake of another movie that a lot of people didn't like, which was the recent Ghostbusters thing. And that was like a lot of that was CG effects and stuff, and they were pretty. It was pretty basically implemented, and I'm not going to harsh on it for that. But I absolutely love how Gunn came about to visualizing the monsters in Scooby-Doo because they were, for the most part, practical effects. It was actors fitted out with prosthetic costumery, but CGI was only used to embellish the
to add the glow and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The vapors, I think a little bit of CG like cage work was used to do some expressions on like the Black Knight costume and shit. But people like underwrite the crap out of that movie to be. I mean, they underwrite the crap out of those movies from go because they're Scooby-Doo and corporately mandated.
They're very enjoyable movies.
The first one, it's good. The first one's all right, but I don't know what happened with the second one. That makes it like just miles better to me. I don't know why, because the premise is way simpler, and it's like much less postmodern, which is probably why I like it more. I don't know. Like the bit at the end of the first one was Scrappy Doo was kind of cute, and then he turns into like a brute, and it's like this just became every other genre movie that's been out this year. Sure. But probably contributing to my feelings for that movie were the special effects makeup tech that was involved, and how parallel it was to what existed at the time, and how much he didn't lean on CGI as a crutch in order to get the job done. That was a really cool presentation. And that's all I had to say about Scooby-Doo 2, apparently. It was neat and good. Go watch.
So what is everyone's favorite like proper Muppet? Like what's your which one blows your mind?
Which one blows my mind, or which ones are my favorites?
One of each.
One of each?
Yeah.
All right. You go ahead and lead this dance.
Okay.
Because I got a couple to pick from.
So the one to me, the Muppet that I can't really wrap my head around, and I need to give a caveat here because it's a normal Muppet, but there's a level in the film that just I'm kind of like, holy fuck.
There's like an intricacy to it that's tough to consider.
There's still movie magic there that I'm not getting, and I don't particularly want to get because I don't want to ruin it.
You don't want to destroy it for yourself.
Yeah. Do you remember I want to say The Muppets Take Manhattan, when Kermit and Piggy are in Central Park and they ride the bike?
Oh, wow.
And they zoom out and it's just Kermit the Frog riding a bike.
Yeah.
That blew my mind and still does. Like I look at it and I'm just like, that's perfect. That's the best special effect in the history of cinema. They made a puppet come to life. But I remember his gangly ass legs like barely touching the pedals also. And it's like there's something very awkward and unearthly about this. And I'm not quite sure I want to confront what that is. And I just remembered the thing that I wanted to bring up also before the Muppets was Alf because of the trivia involved with Alf and how much that asshole of an executive producer put his stage crew or his stage staff and actors through in order to see. This was the effect that he wanted to get across with Alf. It wasn't enough that he was producing a sitcom with a laugh track. He wanted to make the illusion seem as real as it could to the studio audience themselves. Unfortunately, in order to get this effect across, they took like 20-minute breaks between every scene that had to be shot. And this was between repeated takes. And this was if there was a full body shot involved, the actors, they normally had to like stuff into that diminutive costume. I'm pretty sure that after Alf was canceled, union standards were beefed up considerably because Paul Fusco got away with a lot of shit on that show. And for the most part, the kids were all about it, but that's why it got canceled early because the ratings dipped just enough in order for the people financially backing that show in order for them to say, all right, we're done. You guys are free. Go, go and grow your careers.
Didn't one of the lead actors in that show just immediately left from the set to his car and just drove off without having to do a second take?
Yeah. All the actors involved with that show were fucking done.
Wow.
They could not stand being on that show. It was not because
the puppet was getting more fan mail than they were.
The puppet was getting more fan mail than they were. Who, by proxy, was Paul Fusco because he did the voice for Alf. Fusco was like a near tyrant on that production. Everything had to be Kubrick levels of perfection.
Really?
And and from all accounts, I think, God, I want to say that there is like a micro documentary that you can look up on YouTube about this. But everything involved with that show after like the first half of the first season was just volcanic fecal storm in all the ways that count. But yeah, that would be I'd say impressive because of what the people who had to get that production, who had to get that job done, what they were given to work with, and how much they bent over backwards in order to make it happen for this fucking like fart biting maniac that was their boss.
There's a pretty great marionette in the Doom Patrol show that's out on DC Universe right now.
Oh, shut up! Really?
Yeah, it's there's a scene where they're looking for the chief, who is played by
Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I want to say James Bond, but it's not James Bond.
It is James Bond.
It is, but it's not.
It's not. Yeah.
And by the way, if he doesn't just say no the entire film, I'm going to be pissed.
Is that James Bond? No.
No.
A tool for dinner.
How do you talk like that?
I had a stroke. I love that line.
So they're looking for Chief, and it's Doom Patrol, so it's all kinds of weird shit going on at all times.
Right.
And one of the things they do is they go to this kind of pocket dimension that Mr. Nobody has set up, and they this is when they go to Argentina, and they're looking for the Chief. Sorry, there's a lot of shit that happens in that show. They're looking for the Chief.
Reality that is called Argentina.
They're looking for the Chief, and they think he's going to be there, but he's not.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up finding a marionette that is dressed as the Chief.
Yeah.
And they steal it and bring it back, so they have a Chief. on hand. Of course, this is also after the Nazi puppet play. There, like I said, there's a lot happening in that show.
There's a ton of mixed media in this show. It sounds
yes, like. Yeah. And this is after the donkey farts.
Yep,
and they get swallowed by the donkey.
This sounds like a more PG rated version of Ash versus the Evil Dead. The more you describe it to me.
Oh, it's very much R.
Oh, it's R.
It's a hard R.
So now I'm wondering like how much of Ash versus the Evil Dead's staff went over to this show. That's all that show was. Like when you think about the Evil Dead stuff, you know what you're getting into is like Deadites, gore, and a little bit of like Three Stooges. This show like had all that, but a dump truck of more. It was extra as fuck.
Bring in the weird.
Yeah,
that's the best way to describe Doom Patrol.
Okay.
What is Doom Patrol? It's extra as fuck.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
I really need to be watching this.
And Robot Man's goddamn incredible.
Well, he better be.
If we're talking about practical effects and practical costuming, that's unbelievable.
Really,
like, just one of the best suits I've ever seen in comics or in a show.
Let's see that. Ooh.
And Brandon Fraser is fucking great as Robot Man.
Let's take a detour through Morts because that made me think about the worst makeup that you've ever seen. And we could keep this short because I know we got to get back to the Muppets.
Sure.
And both Fantastic Fours are out of contention because that's obvious.
Yeah.
But the worst shit that you've seen on screen. The bigger the budget, the better the pick, by the way.
Practical puppet, worst effect
ever.
How about Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy with like the fake vines you can buy at Michael's for Christmas wrapped around her arms?
That one was piss fucking poor. Yes.
Like at least with Mr. Freeze, they put a little bit of effort into it.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like
I don't know. I'd say a lot of Mr. Freeze. I mean, the design is ugly as balls, but with the intricacy of it, especially when you look at the skin or the thin layer makeup that they had to put around his face, that was all appliance. I guess they wanted to get across the fact that he was like literally made out of ice, which is a little silly because he just looked like he dipped his skull in gack. But
you can tell the makeup budget ran out after Arnold Schwarzenegger was like, okay, now we got to do Uma Thurman.
That's what I was trying to get to. Yes.
Yeah. That's like when they did Bane, they just painted some white or some green lines on his arms.
Oh god. No. And Bane should have been so easy to pull off. Luchador mask, a wrestler. That's
couple
it.
Poses.
Yep.
That's all you needed. Shit, they could have gotten somebody from Lucha Libre to do Bane.
Yeah. Tyler
Mane as Sabretooth is a pretty sad deal too. Yes.
Yeah. Pretty terrible.
That's a good pick because a lot of support went into the X-Men productions.
Yeah. And then you get to Origins Wolverine, which was awful. But Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth was fucking great.
Yeah, I know, man.
He was so good.
That was such a fucking. A lot of that was promise withheld, you know. So unfair, that movie.
Yeah.
Oh wow, is Flex Mentallo actually within modern day Doom Patrol continuity? That's pretty funny.
He was part of the Doom Patrol apparently when he was first introduced.
He was parenthetically part of Doom Patrol lore when Morrison was writing Doom Patrol.
Sure.
That's why he got his own book afterwards, which turned out to be something completely different. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't have read Doom Patrol if it wasn't for Flex Mentallo. But yeah, I'm looking at like a Mike Allred or something here, and he's just like right there, standing right behind Cliff Steele.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Damn, they really did do the job with the makeup on that.
Dude, that Doom Patrol is so like I liked Titans. I liked Titans a lot. Titans was kind of surprising because it as well as a hard R.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh shit, okay, there's some
that and the advanced solicitations left a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fuck Batman line sucked.
That left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths because it was just like, oh, so edgy for you.
But the show itself is really good.
Here, and I just posted a money shot into voice chat room for your viewing enjoyment.
The Titans was really good. Doom Patrol, yeah, that's so good. Doom Patrol is like 100 times better than Titans is.
Yeah,
and it's no coincidence that the best episode of the first series, the first season of Titans, is the Doom Patrol episode,
right?
Where they're introduced. Like it's like, yeah, okay.
Now, do you think it's because you're grading Titans against itself and you're grading Doom Patrol against a bunch of other shit?
I will say Doom Patrol is the best superhero show I've ever seen. Like better than Arrow, Flash, like live action. It doesn't it doesn't eclipse the animated stuff.
I was about to throw this in there too. That's not saying a whole lot right now.
No.
Yeah.
But it is the best I've seen, and it revels in its weirdness. Like it doesn't take itself too seriously. It knows fully well that it is an absolutely ridiculous and obscure property.
Yeah.
So it can do what it wants. And it's got an amazing cast that are just all like, yes.
Yeah. Every time somebody reads that cast list off, it's like, I still can't believe what I'm looking at right here.
Yep.
Maybe Brendan Fraser, but like everybody else, Tim Dalton gets regular work nowadays.
Yeah.
Like overseas.
Yeah. So does, what's his name? Wash.
Alan Tudyk.
Yeah. Alan Tudyk has more work than anybody.
Yeah. Shit. He's in The Tick.
Yeah. He's Danger Boat.
He's fucking Danger Boat.
But he's Mr. Nobody. Like that whole show is wonderful. It's so good. And just so fucking weird. I can't wait for Swamp Thing. And this is coming from someone who's not a Swamp Thing fan at all.
Well, you weren't like Alan Moore Swamp Thing because you don't like Alan Moore.
Yeah, Alan Moore can go fuck himself.
Yeah. But what was the show? Did you ever see the show that was being produced at Universal Studios back in the early 90s?
The Swamp Thing that used to air on USA? Yeah. Yes, I did.
Okay. See, I've never seen that.
It's bad.
Okay.
Yes. It's bad. Yes.
Yes.
And I am speaking as somebody whose mother had her house financially taken care of because of that show.
because of Swamp Thing, and I'm betting Fortune Hunter and Sequest DSV. I almost said Sea Live 2021.
Thunder in Paradise? Did your mom work on Thunder in Paradise?
Thunder in Paradise.
Oh wow, that's surprising.
I gotta have my mom on one day and just go over her resume with her.
Dude, we keep saying this too.
Just give her the bag of brandy.
Yeah, give her the bag of brandy and just let her spin tails. That's all we need. It'll be like a thematically inverse counterpoint to the Mark McEwen episode. Shit, sorry. But the Swamp Thing that the DC Universe is getting is supposed to be like an anthology, isn't it?
That I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
That's okay. That's
only seen the trailer, and that looks like such a horror story. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it looks like proper scary.
Yeah, well, because here's what I'm thinking: how cool would it have been to do just like have a series called The Books of Magic? I know that's a very specific thing, but it was also a series. It was also a comic book. It was also a story that involved a lot of DC's occult characters. And you could broaden it so that it includes like proper DCU, Zatanna and
Detective Chimp.
Clarion, Detective Chimp, who I totally spotted in Teen Titans Go to the Movies. But yeah, it could be like an anthology with like 2 episodes for Zatanna, 2 episodes for Constantine, played by none other than, everybody's favorite Constantine.
Yeah.
You could have Clarion the Witch Boy doing some shit, the Dead Boy Detectives, the next week after that. You have a constantly rotating cast of supernatural themed stories.
The Dark Universe.
So here's this. Let's spitball this one. You have it, make it like kind of like DC Twilight Zone. Have it hosted by the fucking Phantom Stranger.
Yes.
And he introduces every episode, and it's just go.
The Phantom Stranger is played by
Clooney.
Gilbert Gottfried.
We went in different directions there, but I like yours more.
My casting decisions are bad, capital B, but they also have capital M moxie. And George Clooney's a really good pick for the Phantom Stranger too, because you could totally go meta with that as well.
Yep.
Like a certain bat-winged fella who shall not be participating and the story that it's about to unfold. It's just like Are You Afraid of the Dark, but with, like Bob said, the dark universe of DC.
Exactly.
Totally, Jake. And I wouldn't mind dulling the edge on it a bit because you've already got cussing ass Robin and you've got the cussing ass Doom Patrol. It's just basically like the live action stuff on DC Universe is basically just Vertigo.
Mm-hmm.
Have it be. You can have it be dark and spooky and scary and shit. I want to get as many eyeballs on that story as possible. You could totally pass off the edge in a series like that without being, hard R.
Yep.
This is me talking. Usually, I'm like all about the edgy shit. Sometimes unnecessarily so, but I think that this would be totally cool if you did it like a clean and gloomy sort of scary stories to tell in the dark kind of a deal. And shit, man, I'd look forward to that.
I might throw a pitch together.
Throw a pitch together.
Why not, right?
And I'll back it. I'll even put together a casting list for you. How about that? And then you can throw it out immediately.
Have you seen? So we're just gonna keep on completely deviating from the subject at hand here.
This is good stuff.
Yeah.
Have you seen the trailer for season 2 of Krypton yet?
9. I know Lobo's there.
So it features Lobo, and it was the guy who played Jim Corrigan in Constantine.
That's right. The Sphincter, yes.
So, surprise, surprise, that gentleman is very Irish.
You're right, yeah.
Had no idea. No clue whatsoever. Until Lobo talked, and Lobo sounds like an Irish thug, and it's awesome.
Are you shitting me?
Nope.
I don't know how to feel about this.
Okay, all right. I like the idea. I like the approach. Here's the thing. Suddenly you're dealing with an all planets have a north kind of scenario.
Well, sure.
Where the fuck on Zarnia is other Ireland?
Well, see, here's my thing. I think that is just Ireland. I think Zarnia is Ireland.
So they're all Irish.
Yeah.
And then like maybe an interstellar offshoot from Zarnia landed in the Gaelic Isles of Earth 213 or whatever it's called in the DC universe, not 617. Yeah. And then those Irish, eschewing the physical telltale markings of your average Zarnian, the not Gene Simmons stuff, they became pale and red-haired, which is a huge deviation genetically speaking.
Not that far from the pale, though.
We're not far from the pale. All right. The dark markings, and who the fuck knows where the red hair came from? Also, the freckles. Don't want to touch it.
Hey, just a reminder. I'm Irish. I don't have red hair.
Yeah, but aren't you Black Irish?
Hey, that's racist.
Okay, no, not like a Black Irish. And they also play golf. I'm pretty sure. By the way, after we had Gumby on the last show, I pitched this. I threw this link to him because we were talking about like Hotline Miami and Katana Zero, and it was God's Trigger. Did you see the trailer for this?
No, I just like that you called it Hotline Miami.
Oh fuck. That was my inner Lobo coming out. Hotline Miami. You do it way better than I do.
Magnificent.
Yeah, the last after we had Adam on, and I showed him this game called God's Trigger, which was basically Hotline Miami, but it's co-op. And one of the first things you see in the trailer is a Pestilence, whose human form is a black cowboy. So. That was the first thing he saw, and I had to like break the news to him. Sadly, afterwards, I don't think you can play as the Four Horsemen. That's
so, speaking of Lobo,
yes.
So DC Universe has got their up to date their digital library uploaded for comics now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So they're up over 21,000 issues.
Probably no Vexed.
No Vexed, unfortunately. Lots of other shit in there though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, like, speaking of Lobo, they have the 1990 Lobo miniseries.
Okay.
Lobo's Back from 1992.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The entirety of the 1993 series.
That's the ongoing, right?
That's the ongoing.
Okay. Solid.
The 2014 series.
2004. Oh, that one.
Handsome Lobo. Lobo Unbound.
Okay.
And Lobo: A Contract on God.
A Contract on God was not Lobo's strongest outing, but that was when like Alan Grant. That was like one of Alan Grant's first solo books without the GIF, providing like an outline for him.
Sure.
It was okay. It was supposed to be like not like a straight parody, but like a name parody of A Contract with God, the Will Eisner book that came out a little bit before then. That's cool that the ongoing series has been archived though, because it has never entered print like ever.
And I've never read it. Like I read a couple issues here and there.
Yeah, it is the best kind of terrible. I read the shit out of that back in the day. That book. That's a bummer because like some of my favorite miniseries haven't been included, I guess, yet. Infanticide is so far my favorite Lobo mini before they started going crazy with the ongoings and the minis and the prestige format books. God, DC was like, for a long time in the 90s, Lobo was to DC what Deadpool is to Marvel now.
Oh yeah, and what Harley is to DC now.
Harley is to DC now, yeah, which is fucked up because you already had him there. You had him you had that character 3 times in DC. You had Lobo, you had the Heckler, you had fucking Ambush Bug. Ambush Bug.
The Ambush Bug mini from a couple years ago is in here now.
That's good because I never got to read it. Nice.
So yeah, lots of good stuff. Hey, let's hop back to puppets.
Yeah, quick. Sorry, Muppets and shit, yo.
So the Kermit on the Kermit on the bike was the one that blew my mind.
Right.
But my favorite Muppet is Dr. Teeth. Dr.
Teeth. Oh, like in terms of design?
Yeah, like I just love Dr. Teeth. And I like all the ones that have the human hands. Like Dr. Teeth, the Swedish Chef, stuff like that, where they're going to be actively using tools.
Ralph.
Yeah.
Ralph, yeah. Because that always confused me as a kid because it's like it just didn't clue into my head because I was a child and I was an idiot.
Yeah.
That they were using.
Why does Gonzo have stick hands, but Fozzie's got like these big mitts?
Yeah, like how is the Swedish Chef picking up that thing and chopping the lobster? And it's because that's a hand.
Wasn't the Swedish Chef? Wasn't the whole idea behind having an artless chef to have like 3 different puppeteers working the same puppet? Because normally it was somebody does the head and then somebody does both arms so they can work in tandem.
Yeah.
But this was just like absolute chaos because they wanted. It was like that one weird team building exercise that some corporate outings do for people where like somebody does like somebody wraps one hand around a person, a coworker, and another person wraps their hand around a coworker, and then they have to act like a cohesive unit at the same time. And that was basically the Swedish Chef, the whole skit.
Yeah, it's Helping Hands from Whose Line.
Yes, that's it. That is such a better comparison.
But yeah, so like any of the Muppets that had the hands, and Sweetums was amazing.
Yeah.
Sweetums was full body, and which was just phenomenal.
No, you brought up like Snuffleupagus a little bit ago too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Snuffy was pretty cool because I think that's just a giant sized version of that's two man as a horse.
That's the 2-man horse, yeah. But the trunk.
Yeah, the trunk is crazy.
How'd they do the trunk?
Wasn't it just on a string? Like, and it moved with the foot?
Oh my God. Now I feel like an asshole.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's how it worked.
Was that it? Okay, now I got to see this shit.
I think it was like articulated hoses running down the trunk and with a handle inside. The guy was able to squeeze it to make it go up and do all kinds of stuff. But it had like a string as an assist. Now, is it me or did the Muppets on Sesame Street always look like they're more technically sound than the regular Muppets?
Well, they're supposed to. They're supposed to be put together, because they're the ones that are, they're kind of guiding children and teaching children. Like
because Sesame Street was a single camera production, so they had to make them more oriented to traditional stagecraft than something on the Muppet Show, which was taped.
And the Muppet Show
maybe at first
was meant to be chaos.
Yeah,
You got to remember, like the original ideas for the Muppet Show was like developed by like a high as hell Jim Henson in the '60s.
Wilkins Coffee, Jim Henson.
Yeah, I love that. I love that supercut of all the cannons firing into all the puppets.
Yep,
that shit was great. I'm sorry, when I meant to say single camera production, I meant like a multi-camera production with a single director.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like a sitcom, but the Muppet Show was way different.
Yes, the Muppet Show was sketch comedy. It was
man. There, I'm not finding any illumination onto how Snuffy was pulled off.
That's not really something they like. They prefer that stuff get out.
Yeah, but they sure did release how Big Bird works, which is
okay. That I want to know about, like right now.
One hand's up in the beak, and the other hand's working a hand. The other one's always tied to the body.
Yep.
What?
I destroyed his childhood, didn't I?
Oh my god! Hold on a second. Are you shitting me? That motherfucker has a Bob Dole arm.
Yep.
Oh god.
Yeah, here I'll send you the.
Now I feel like a double schmuck.
Don't be.
Oh my god, these guys are good. Or I'm just,
I'm sure you're not the first person to hear that for the first time.
Yeah, there you go. How Big Bird works.
How Big Bird works.
And there's like an animated GIF on there of how.
Son of a bitch!
The second hand is attached to a string, and moves as the antithesis to the other arm. So as one goes down, one goes up.
Oh my gosh. So no, this doesn't shatter the illusion for me whatsoever. I just know now, and I feel like I can get on with the rest of my life.
It's more magical.
That's really impressive. Yeah. All right, but since we're talking about Big Bird, I'm not putting him as one of my two. Okay. Yes. See how we get away with that with sly maneuvers. That's really impressive. All right. So those were your two. It was Dr. Teeth.
Yeah, Dr. Teeth as my favorite, and Kermit on a bike as the thing that blew my mind.
As your favorites, as your effect.
Yeah.
In other words, okay. For effect, purely the Doozers from Fraggle Rock.
Oh yeah.
That shit was nuts. And that, as far as like micro puppeting goes, I still have no idea how they could have managed to pull any of that off. But if it was one, I can make some guesses. But the thing is that they had to have multiple operators per scene because there was usually like 4 or 5 Doozers in any one shot, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's my pick for how do you do that shit. And for those of you who don't watch sports television, it's okay if you don't get that.
Did you know that Mr. Snuffleupagus' first name is Aloysius?
I somehow feel like that I did know that.
Yeah, me too. I just didn't remember.
It takes 2 people to perform Mr. Snuffleupagus. Mm-hmm. The person who performs the front also performs the voice.
So do they swap voices every once in a while? Has anybody ever noticed that?
I don't know, but that's all we get on the how Snuffy works.
Well, mother bitch. Well, damn it, Snuff. You were way simpler than we thought you'd be. As far as like, hey, Mary, what's going on?
Corey says hi.
Technically, I'm saying hi to her reflection in the window behind you, but
he saw your reflection in the window.
I was like, I don't remember your house being haunted. That ghost is wearing a pink T-shirt. Wow, that tragic death must have been really recent because I don't see that being in fashion.
There's a Ring You sequel I haven't seen.
Yes. Well, shit. All right, so we threw Alf out there. No, we already did it. Doozers. That's my pick for effects and technology. My favorite Muppets. And if you give this like maybe 5 seconds worth of thought and rumination, actually, I'll give you 5 seconds to guess who.
Your favorite Muppet?
My favorite Muppet. Yeah.
I want to say Oscar, but I don't think it's Oscar.
It's not Oscar. Oscar is pretty much he is the shit, though.
Is it one of the ones in the band?
Is it Animal?
Not Animal, although he was equally the shit. Give this a really good think.
Oh, what's her name?
Because it's terribly obvious.
Oh, the Trash Pile.
No, but that's a good guess.
Oh.
That was a really good guess. I should have thrown that out for a tech consideration also. It's Statler and Waldorf.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
oh, that
Because
makes
they're
sense.
old and shitty, yes. And they were my favorites when I was a kid because they had all the best lines, and they're my favorites now because
They have all the best lines.
strangely, they have all the best lines, and I can kind of relate to them. Kind of, but not too much.
All right, how about you, Bob?
As far as my favorite Muppet, that one's really hard because there's a lot of just about any one of them that has such a character and a personality to it that you forget that this is a collection of felt and with eyes.
Yeah.
So I mean, and there's so many. I mean, Fozzie is up there, Gonzo's up there, Kermit obviously is up there. I really don't have a favorite character. I enjoy watching all of them, but as far as a technical aspect, one that hasn't actually been on TV but is in the Disney parks is the Dr. Benson Honeydew and Beaker show that they do at Epcot. And if you haven't seen this thing, it's literally the two Muppets, puppets, whatever, on this two-wheeled contraption that is just free roaming, going back and forth. There's somebody with a controller somewhere nearby.
Whoa,
and they put on a whole show with like effects and pyrotechnics and everything right there, right behind Spaceship Earth. It's really funny, and it's a technical marvel how they pull all this off together.
And
It's like a remote control Segway, right?
Yeah. And it has like a gyroscope in it, so it knows never to go too far back or forward and everything.
Yeah, look up Muppet Mobile Labs Core. Actually, Bob has a video of it.
Yeah, it's a couple years old, but yeah.
On our YouTube page.
Yeah. Plug. Subscribe. And give a thumbs up. Please.
that's me acknowledging. Hey, you got all the subscribers you need, at least for a little while.
Victor says hi.
Hello,
Hi,
Victor.
Victor.
They said hi, Victor. He's waving.
I see him waving.
Can you see him in the reflection?
I can see Bob too.
Cool.
Sorry, it's work stuff.
Probably myself.
Okay, I'm gonna go, guys. Nice to see you.
Bye. See you in Tennessee.
No, so Korean Bob.
God, we're
Thanks.
getting closer.
there's the ghost of a little child in the window behind you.
Good night, Corey. Good night, Bob.
Good
Oh my
night.
God.
They say goodnight.
Go to sleep.
That boy is getting big.
Oh yeah, he's 10, dude. He's a big kid.
Driver's license soon.
I'll say that.
Yeah,
that one I'm not ready for.
hold on a second. Somebody from work is trying to suss out a situation.
Once we're done with this, I think I am gonna have to pop off for the night.
That's fine. You know what? That's great. We can save superhero video games for the next thing. Yeah.
Bruins one, sorry.
Bruins one. Good.
All right.
Superhero video games going hand in hand with mobile games. That can be the next the week after show. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Love it.
Practical effects, and nobody's mentioned any like horror movie stuff yet. I think we did talk about Ash vs. Evil Dead, which technically counts.
Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about the Deadites.
Alien.
God, the Alien. Yeah.
Now we can gloss over this if you want to. I'm throwing Alien out there for everybody else's consideration, but I wanted to talk the fuck out of The Thing.
The Thing. Jesus, that's what it.
The Thing, and what oh my God, I can't remember his name. It's not Baker. It's not Rick Baker.
Are you sure?
Bobbitt.
I thought it was Baker.
No, he took over after this guy had to be hospitalized for exhaustion. But I really wish I could remember what the hell his name was. The Thing, SFX creator.
Because I know Baker got the credit for it.
Damn it. Rob Bottin. That was him. Bottin. He worked with John Carpenter on a lot of his other stuff too, including The Fog and such. But Rob Bottin was apparently living on Coca-Cola and Snickers bars because he was spending so much time working but like personally overseeing all of the creatures that were involved in the movie. And I wanted to throw out a mention of him because A, dedication, and B, how much technology did the thing by itself introduce into like the panoply of what the fuck we're talking about right now. I don't know why I corrected myself saying hell and into something a little bit arguably worse. What the hell? Oh, that's strong language. What the fuck? That's right. But yeah, so much of the of the craft work from special effects makeup came from the thing, because a lot of what they were doing at that time was like seat of their pants improvisation. And you can think of like whenever people think of like top shelf makeup effects and stage oriented special effects, they think of the thing, but they don't realize how much of that was like, we didn't know how to do this yesterday. Let's put it on a daily and see if it works. And it all worked.
All right, so I have some Mr. Snuffleupagus information here.
Drop it on us.
Okay, so first off, the Snuffy puppet was once used as Senor Snuffleupago, Snuffy's cousin from Mexico.
Okay.
He was given a 50-pound sombrero, which broke the framework inside the puppet.
And probably at least one of the actors.
It collapsed on the performers, but did not hurt anybody.
Oh, that's good.
Snuffy is too large to store anywhere other than being hung from the ceiling.
Okay.
The Snuffy puppet and his facial movements are operated entirely from within the puppet. There's a stick that moves the eyes around, a long string to pull down the eyelids, and a handle to pull down the lower part of the mouth.
See, I knew about the eyelids because you can see the string set against the black pupils. Yeah.
But doesn't say anything about the nose. However, they do have to open the mouth and fan off the performers in between takes.
How much reality are the child performers on that show introduced to on a daily basis?
I hope none. I
Yeah?
hope that magic is maintained.
It's got to be a difficult thing to do.
It does.
Yeah.
But when the whole point of the show is, taking care of kids and helping kids learn, you don't break that illusion.
Yeah, nurturing their learning processes through fantastic scenarios and shit. People who arguably don't really exist.
I don't know if they do this anymore, but I know early Sesame Street days, they would actually have a sit down with the kid for about an hour and just have a conversation through the puppet. And by the time the camera started rolling, they realized that kind of broke the mentality. So the kid knew to look at the Muppet instead.
That's smart.
That's really good. They would have a puppet interview. Why can't real job interviews be like that?
So I'm reviewing your CV here, and I see you have 17 years of experience in the financial industry. So tell me about the last time you were forced to change horse midstream and how that impacted your team.
Unless it's Miss Piggy, because I can imagine that would be a ball busting experience.
Eyes up here, pal.
Could you explain this 2-year break between when you were working at the Papa John's and and for Kaiser Permanente?
Did you ever put pork on your pizza?
Oh, I should probably say no, but she looks like she can pack away a meal. Fuck. Catch 22. Yes. Bob said something a couple of minutes ago about the strength of this. Just became the Henson conversation, more or less, after the course of an hour. How the strength of his creations came through in illustrating their personas and characters, no matter what went into the design and the construction of the puppet. I actually had a conversation that was like this morning because Cookie Monster was on the Today Show. I don't know why. I don't know what the context was. I just saw the Cookie Monster. Is it or is that a proper name? I don't know.
It is just Cookie Monster.
It's just Cookie Monster?
First name is Cookie, last name is Monster, yes.
All right, so it's like capital C, capital M. Got it. Yep. He was just shoving a cookie into some kid's mouth, and I was just like, that's kind of aggressive, Cookie Monster. But they have to understand that when they asked you to come on board, that this is precisely what they were asking for. But I was looking at the design of Cookie Monster, and I was like, that is really damn simple. He is like one of the Menomina guys, which had to have been like constructed from surplus materials that they had hanging out in the workshop, right? Or the creature shop. But he's basically that plus a couple of ping pong balls and little eye circles hung from like fishing wire out through a couple of holes or whatever. It's not a very complex puppet at all, but the entirety of Cookie Monster, he's one of the most memorable personas from Sesame Street, was brought forth through performance and character definition. There's nothing to him. He's blue and has ping pong eyes, and it's the same old real hands and mouth combination that we were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, people shit themselves when he became Veggie Monster for one show.
Yep.
That's how you know that this is how well defined and how endearing that these characters could be or became.
So his prototype was a character called the Wheel Stealer. It was a fuzzy monster with wonky eyes and sharp pointy teeth that used to eat hubcaps.
Cookies are a bit more edible than hubcaps are. I can understand his change of heart after a while.
Yeah, he was used in an IBM training film called The Coffee Break Machine.
Really?
Where the monster devoured a complex machine as the machine described its purpose and construction.
That is some high concept shit. Damn.
Absolutely amazing.
And I thought Will Vinton's riff on Mark Twain was kind of nuts. That's up there. Jesus.
That's okay. That is true. I didn't want to talk out my ass here. Like my favorite thing about the Cookie Monster puppet is that the back of his mouth has a hole in it,
so you can dodge cookies down there. Yeah,
exactly. So it's the illusion isn't broken.
Okay,
it looks like he actually eats them.
Here's a true story. When I was this is how I noticed this way back when we had watched Sesame Street, and then we watched The Price is Right later. Do you remember the Three Strikes game?
Yeah.
All right. The contestants would reach into the bag and pull out like a number or a strike, right?
Yeah.
The bag reminded me of Cookie Monster. That's how I knew that the cookies were. That's how I knew that there was like a false back or a false pocket for the cookies to fall into, because his brother was working with Bob Barker across town.
Just eating Plinko chips.
Yeah, I know it's someday I'm gonna like derail this podcast into like a totally The Price is Right centric sort of a conversation, and you guys are not going to be able to take it back from me.
That should be that should be next year's tournament.
That should be next year's tournament.
Like a sweet 16, a sweet 16 of Price is Right games.
Yeah, we can make this easy too, because those pricing games we always think of them as impermanent, but that show, if you read as much about The Price is Right as I do, has a severely high turnover for pricing games. Sometimes they bring them out of retirement, like a Lego set, but it's not often.
Sometimes they modify them, like hole in one or two.
Hole in one or two. Hole in one or two, I think, is still a thing.
Yeah, it is, but it was just hole in one for a long time.
For a long time, I was very dismayed to discover that that Penny Ante is no longer in regular Price is Right rotation. That was one of my other favorite games. And the Super Ball hasn't been a thing for 15 years.
Really?
Yeah. Ain't that a B?
Yeah.
Which one was Super Ball?
Super Ball was skee ball, but you got paid if you were good at it.
Yep.
You got 2 balls that were granted to you. You got 2 balls. Hey. All right. You got 2 balls to shoot up the ramp with regular guessing of the products. And you got the chance to procure a golden Super Ball with the Price is Right dollar logo on it if you got, like, I think all 3 in a row or something like that. Or something like that. The details on the pricing end of it kind of elude me at the moment. But the Super Ball is what got you, like, all the prizes. The other 2 balls are just, like, for A, the car, or B, the vacation. Yeah. Something like that, yeah. But it was skee ball in game show form, so I was like, fucking A! This is my joint! Very excited about skee ball.
Who isn't?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to call it a night.
All right. So steer it back towards like capping off the puppetry talk.
Yeah,
sure thing. Do what you can,
sir. So before we get going for the night, guys, are there any other Muppets in particular that speak to you in some kind of way? Like,
The Froud designs from Labyrinth.
fantastic
I
choice.
love Froud designs. I love the Froud books that he did with Terry Jones. I'm embarrassed that I can't remember the names of some of the puppets from the Labyrinth. I remember Physic. Thank you. Apparently, I don't even remember that.
No, that's not. Physic.
That's from the Princess Bride.
Yeah, Fezzik is under the giant.
I want to say Fizzgig or something like that.
Yeah,
There was, oh my god,
Gelfling.
The Gelflings were from the Dark Crystal.
Oh yeah,
Which was also a really
Yeah, there's another one. Yeah.
yes.
The Skizzics.
The Skeksis.
Skeksis, yeah.
And of course the big puppets from Return to Oz. I only mentioned Jack Skellington, but TikTok. Scarecrow was a bit weak sauce, come to think of it, because he was just a dude in a suit and his face didn't even fucking move. So whatever, Scarecrow, fuck off with you.
TikTok looked like he could have been a nightmare to operate.
Very much so, yeah. But it had to be.
TikTok's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, TikTok not only took somebody who was proportioned for that outfit, for that build, is what I want to say it is, but somebody had to operate, like you were talking about with the goblin guys, the ligatures of the face and whatnot. Plus, there was like a couple of special effects movements built into that entire rig that I don't even want to. But yeah, throwing some love towards Labyrinth.
So for me, it's the entirety of the Electric Mayhem. Like
The fact that those bitches could play music.
yeah, like I love the Electric Mayhem. But I want to give a special nod to the Dancing Chest Burster from the end of Spaceballs, which is just amazing.
Damn it. See, that was the answer that I was wanting to come up with. And that's a really good answer. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Yeah.
How about you, Bob?
You know, we were mentioning The Thing earlier, and I was thinking Rick Baker, but another thing Rick Baker did work on, Rickenbacker, was American Werewolf in Paris, or in London.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes, very much so.
That was a very believable puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so much had to be done with that too. And then you could extend that to his work on Fright Night. He did The Fly too, didn't he?
I think so.
And the Men in Black in one movie almost eclipsed the entirety of like the Jedi's Jedi's zoology or menagerie. That would have been a more accurate term, I guess. But
yeah, because you had the little puppets, the little aliens inside the head. You had the worms. You had everyone at MIB headquarters just waiting in line at customs.
Everybody at check-in too. That was a lot of. Although I guarantee a lot of that shit was kind of cribbed out of the back of Rick Baker's sketchbook from Star Wars.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, very much so. So just by sheer volume, that one kind of takes the cake. And I want to mention this because nobody else has so far, and it's kind of funny because a topic from this week has at least been parenthetically related to Guillermo del Toro, but. Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
Like I hated Crimson Peak, not because of creature designs. Like the production design on that movie was fucking stellar. It was just a shitty movie. And if I had to pick anything out to appreciate about it, it would be that. But that's the same for a lot of his movies. Devil's Backbone, same idea. Pan's Labyrinth, fucking Hellboy. Oh, and Mimic. Might as well just toss that out there too. Anyway.
All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up. For episode 59.
Puppet episode.
The puppet episode of the Nerd or Not podcast. I want to thank you guys for listening. We're going to take next week off because I am out of town. We'll be back in 2 weeks talking video games. Superheroes and mobile games. That might split into two. Who knows? That might be 60 and 61, but we'll find out when we get there. Thank you all for listening. Be sure to subscribe, like, all that fun stuff. Leave us a review on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter. Watch us on Tout. All of that fun stuff.
Follow me on Plurk.
Be sure to watch Midnight Mirth on Twitch. And enjoy the Lego builds because they are relaxing and a great way to end your day.
Starting a new mega build this weekend, as a matter of fact.
Ooh, what are we starting?
That's a surprise. I mean, if you're following me on Twitter, that's not much of a surprise because we had a poll, but it's a surprise for the uninitiated. How about that?
So what you're saying is the one I voted for didn't get picked.
Did you vote for that one?
I voted for the Vault.
I'm not saying anything. I don't know.
Okay.
That was
All right.
that was unexpected. Right.
I look forward to be surprised on Saturday in that case.
Yes.
Bob, you got anything coming up? Any secret, any guest appearances on any shows?
I was a guest on the Throwdown Thursday podcast with Patsy the Angry Nerd. We were talking Avengers.
So many angry nerds.
Yeah, well, that's
Like, what
normal
happened
for our
to our
breed.
generation to cause us to internalize such rage and read comic books at the same time?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. All right, I guess so. Shit.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
I'm
it.
gonna throw this out there really quick. Since talking about puppets, talking about horror movies. If you got access to Shudder or even just anything else that has really obscure horror movies at hand, catch a movie called Magic. It is a really early Anthony Hopkins role. He plays a deranged ventriloquist performer, and it's based on a book with a script by William Goldman, Princess Bride fame. Watch that shit. It's unnerving as hell.
Okay.
Yes.
And I will toss out there to check Kickstarter for the Lost Skeleton Strikes Again Blu-ray Kickstarter
yes!
launched today.
Speaking of underappreciated puppets.
Yeah, the Lost Skeleton is amazing. Bob, have you
Yeah.
seen that movie?
No, I have not.
Okay, it's on our Vudu. Fucking
Okay.
watch it. It's
Yeah.
so good.
And so
It's-
is Goosebumps.
Okay, let me back that up. It's
go ahead.
not good. It's
Okay.
terrible.
Oh, okay.
But it's so good.
It's not good and it's not terrible, because if it was terrible, we wouldn't like to watch it. Here's the news phrase I'm going to coin for this, or the new term. It's delicious is
Yeah.
what it fucking is.
Yes.
Yeah. It is
Very much.
absolutely just nosh down on that shit and savor the flavor. Speaking of creature effects, and just throwing this out there, Goosebumps is also on Vudu, and that's all I got to say. No more interruptions. All right.
So as we always say, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If this gets made into a video, I don't remember. Thank you for being part of the guild. Welcome to the guild. To all your cats and dogs. I sleep now.
That would be me. I need to check if I have the Blu-ray of that, because I think I only have the DVD.
Oh no, shit! My audio didn't record.
Oh,
God damn it! Audio crashed, Bob.
That's why I make a backup.
Okay, good. I'm so sorry.
Got backup?
Well, I can take the audio from Hangouts.
What YouTube got? All right, and that's why you do.
It's not the cleanest, but it's better than absolutely nothing.